Record. All right, welcome to the 64th episode of the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America, Africa, and the diaspora. I am your host, Brother Tamani. I'm down out of Houston, Texas. I'm the direct revolutionary product of one cardinal by Chewy, the Shrines of the Black Madonna, the indirect revolutionary product of one Albert B. Clegg, African title and name Jeramogi, Abebe Ajiman, the father of liberation theology and the founder of the Shrines of the Black Madonna. I'm also the founder of the Black Gold Nation movement. My co-host, the chief consultant of the Black Gold Nation's National Political Strategy and Implementation Department in our Adult Education Division, and the chairman of LACE, Liberation Advocates for Community Empowerment, the intellectual gangster, corporate grassroots revolutionary, master domino assassin from Shreveport, Louisiana, AKA The Boot, Brother Craig B. Lee. Brother Craig, how you doing this evening?
I am doing wonderful, tired, and all of that.
All right, so really quickly, just, and I say this every week, so I'll just sum it up. What we're here to do is try to identify Black people who want to do something and then bring them into an organization that's actually trying to make some things happen for Black people. Our goal is to put our people in a position by which we have political power, political influence, so that can drive power in other areas so that we can control the environment where we live, control the space where we live as much as possible, and do our own thing as we see fit. Tonight's show title is The Importance of Building a Grassroots Leadership Team for Political Power. The importance of building a grassroots leadership team for political power. So, Brother Craig, you and I were having a conversation a few days ago whereby I was asking, I was trying to understand your plans for Shreveport. And as usual, more than a few jewels came out of that conversation. And I wanted to share some of those jewels tonight in this episode. The importance of building a grassroots leadership team for political power. So as I said it last week, here in the Black Gold Nation, we define power via Dr. Wade Nobles' definition of power, which is the ability to define reality and have others respond to your definition as if it were their own. So what we're trying to do here in the Black Gold Nation is that we want to have power so that we can define our reality and have other people respond to our definition as if it were their own definition, as we seek to control our environment as much as humanly possible. Now, we understand, Brother Craig, that this cannot be done as an individual, because to win in this global game of capitalistic white supremacy racism, you must act as a team, because you can't do this on your own. Am I right in all of that so far?
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, so let's start with the premise of where we are as a people in this country and around the world. Most people would say that melanated people of African descent have a lot of problems, but we really only have two. What are those two problems that Black people have, Brother Craig?
The first is the philosophy, system, and game of capitalistic white supremacy, to which we cannot directly solve, because that intellectual property concept was created by European descendants. So that is up to them to directly contend with those good white folks. And but indirectly, we can impact it by directly solving our second problem and the most paramount problem that we have, which is no empowerment. And no empowerment, as we often state on the program, is the ability to control your destiny. And you do that through what I define as the 6 pillars of empowerment: spirituality, organic right culture, education, economics, socioeconomics, and politics. So those are the only 2 problems that we have, and everything else that people point to as problems, they're just symptoms of those two problems.
Very, very awesome segue, because my next question are about those symptoms. So us not having power of our own, of course, as you just said, everything else is a symptom of not having power. So what are some of the symptoms to us not having power by which we can do our own thing? What are some of the symptoms that you just talked about, you just mentioned?
You can look at drug abuse, mass incarceration, poverty, intraracial violence, murder, lack of contract procurement opportunities, poor schooling, poor health care, school to prison, pipeline, cradle to prison, pipeline, just all of those issues that plague us on a daily basis are the result of not having empowerment. Hence, they're the symptomatic ailments of that one problem.
Cool, amen. So with those two realities, the system of capitalistic white supremacy, which we can do nothing about, someone else has to handle that, and us not having our own empowerment. With those two realities, our focus 100% should be on acquiring, maintaining, expanding, and keeping power, correct?
Correct.
Cool, all right, amen. Now just flow with me on these next series of questions, because I know you already have the answers, but I want to make a very, very, very important point. How large is Shreveport, Louisiana?
By square miles, it is roughly 133 square miles, which would put us as a top 20, top 30 city in America. By population, we're roughly 190,000, which puts us roughly 116, in the top 120, somewhere around 116 to 118.
Okay, what are the demographics of Shreveport?
Roughly 60 to 61% melanated African descendants, and roughly 38% European descendants, and 1-2% other.
Other?
Yes.
Okay. So describe. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Latino, Asian.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. Amen. So describe for us the geography of Shreveport.
Well, we are within a 5-hour drive time of Shreveport. You have access to over 30 million people because we are 180 miles to the east of Dallas, Texas. We are 220 miles, 30 miles northeast of Houston, Texas. We are 350 miles from Austin, Texas. We are 190 miles from Little Rock, Arkansas, 170 miles from Hot Springs, Arkansas, 350 miles from Memphis, 320 miles from New Orleans, 260 miles from Baton Rouge, 350 miles from Tulsa, Oklahoma. So within that realm of 5 hours, you have over 30 million people, and it's a drive time market. You don't have to get on a plane. You can actually drive, leave early in the morning, and be in any of those cities for a business meeting or something like that.
Awesome. How many colleges and/or universities, major ones, are in Shreveport?
We have two 4-year institutions, LSU, Louisiana State University, Shreveport, Centenary University, which is a private school. And then we have 2 community colleges, Southern University, Shreveport, and in our neighboring twin city of Bossier, you have Bossier Parish Community College.
Excellent.
And we're 40 miles from Marshall, Texas. So that brings in HBCU, the Great Debaters, Wiley College, and then 70 miles down the road, 65 miles down the road, Grambling State University. So that's all within our drive time.
Excellent. Okay. And what are the major industries of Shreveport?
So right now, the number one industry here is the medical industry. Then we have the 3rd largest military installation in the world between Shreveport and Bossier, which is Barksdale Air Force Base. And they are the largest employer in North Central Louisiana. But other than the healthcare or health and wellness industry, we have roughly the fourth or 5th largest gaming market industry in the country. And then after that, still pretty much have some oil and gas maneuvering. So the other industries are kind of smaller sectors, but those are our top 2, the health and wellness and the gaming.
Ooh, okay. And how many seats on city council in Shreveport, Louisiana?
7.
Huh?
7.
7. Okay.
4 of them are majority melanated seats. 3.
You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
There's a this census should give us a 5th melanated seat, and basically you have 2 European descendant seats.
Okay. And the last question about Shreveport, what is the approximate annual budget to run Shreveport, Louisiana?
Right now it's roughly $400 to $500 million. Several years ago, it was right at $1 billion. So right now it's about 400 to 500 million.
Okay, all right. So now I want everybody who's with us this evening and those who watch the recording, I want everybody to understand and realize that the questions I just asked Brother Craig, he had no idea I was going to ask. I didn't prep him. I didn't send him advanced questions. I've never done that, even from the very beginning. The point is that the brother knows his city because he has plans to run his city. That's the first point. He knows his city because he has plans to run his city. You can't seek to lead or be a part of a team if you're not serious about understanding the landscape upon which that team is going to operate. Very, very, very important that you guys understand his level of understanding as it relates to Shreveport, Louisiana. It's probably bar none as it relates to the details. And he knows what he knows because he has plans for the city, which is very, very, very important to tonight's show title with the rest of the questions. Everything I ask, I'm asking for a reason. So Brother Craig, if we were to ask 25 people who were born, go ahead.
Also, we have 2 lakes in the city.
That's right.
We have a river in the city. We have a port in the city. And we have in the northern portion of the parish, which is outside of the city limits, we have a third lake. And so our natural resources are abundantful because, like I said, those 130 acres, 33 square miles is phenomenal. And then our highway interstate system, in Shreveport, you don't even really have to get on the interstate to navigate through the city. It's a very cool place to maneuver. And our regional airport, it's not an international airport, it's a regional airport in the community that my uncle, Giles D. Moore, created in the late 1800s. And they have enough room to expand to increase the size of that. But we have to expand our population. And that is my objective over the next 30 years, to expand Shreveport's population by 300,000 so that we can, really start to make some major moves.
Amen. Amen. Okay. So if we were to ask 25 people who were born and raised in a predominantly Black space in this country, the same sort of questions about their city that I asked you about your city, how many of them you think would know that level of detail if we were to ask 25 people?
Zero.
Zero. Amen. And if we were to ask any person who considers himself or herself a freedom fighter, revolutionary, woke, conscious person of the people, for the people, by the people, how many of them do you think would know their city the way you know yours?
Zero.
Amen. So in a nutshell, people don't fully understand that those two problems we have, someone else's power and not having our own power. We don't understand how methodical we can put ourselves in the driver's seat by having political power. But of course, you will never be able to do that if you don't understand what you're trying to drive and how it functions. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, because as I appreciate this complex situation that we're in, the majority of people, especially in the latter group, the so-called woke, pseudo-activist individuals, and those who were actually woke and enlightened, as we always say with the Black Panther Party and all of those cats, as smart as those guys were and sisters were, they really didn't understand the complexities of this.
That's right.
And so their whole premise for activism or advocacy is to try to force their enemy to give up their power, and you got to take it. It's like being in a corporate war, and you come up with this great idea to be in the soft drink industry, so-called cola, whatever they call it, sodas, whatever, industry. And Coca-Cola is the top dog.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can complain about Coke and you can complain about Pepsi being number two, but they're not gonna give up their goddamn market share just because you complain.
Because you want to compete. help me compete against you.
Like that's not how this shit works. And our people, they really got this shit twisted. And Martin Luther King, the rest of them, it's like this is their game. So we have to figure out how to mobilize, organize, and unify a percentage of us so we can leverage equity in their game. Equality is never going. I mean, it's not just the premise of being equal in a system that is designed against you. It's just
to be unequal.
I just don't even comprehend how people who profess to be intelligent don't even comprehend something so basic. And then if you talk real with them in order to formulate a game plan, a realistic game plan, a strategy, they'll say, "Oh man, you selling out."
Right.
So I just like, hey man, do your thing.
Okay, so in a nutshell, from a high level, the high points, what do you want for the people who live in Shreveport, predominantly the melanated population? What do you want for the people of Shreveport?
I mean, I want them to be able to control their city and their parish within those 6 pillars of empowerment: spiritually, culturally, educationally, economically, socially, and politically, and be the balance to set the prototype for grassroots people throughout the world to see how this thing is really done. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, we're in the leadership positions, you'll see equity for so-called Native Americans, Latinos, Asians, even grassroots Caucasians, because we have to show the world how this thing really works from a righteous and just standpoint. That's my desire, that's my focus, that's my commitment, and I'm going to die working that agenda.
Okay, amen. Now, why do you think that vision, that agenda, why do you think that has never been done before?
Again, no one has ever really understood all of this because there's so many working parts. Like when you called me the other day and asked about various departments.
That's right.
And just in a mid-sized city, we're not even talking about a goddamn large city like Houston or Dallas, LA, man, they got departments, sub-departments, sub-departments. Bruh, they got elected offices, boards, sub-boards. Bruh, it's just too complex, man. And so if your mind is not truly free, if it's not, as Bruce Lee talked about, his fighting style being water, and I say I've elevated that into not only water from a liquid standpoint, I elevated to say, if you don't know how to be steam, business, economics, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, if you don't know how to be steam, being one with the universe, with the creator and the ancestors, bro, there's no way you'll ever be able to figure this out. It's and that's just at the goddamn local level.
Right.
Yeah, the state becomes more complex. But if you learn at the local level, you can then learn how to navigate at the state level. I was on a call last night with a councilman from Boston who wants us to bring a Dad's on Duty chapter there. And he had this dude, and I'm so glad you asked that question about so-called woke Negroes. And a so-called woke Negro from Boston who has an organization called Black Men United. And this is a phenomenal city councilman, Brother Brian. He's an attorney. So he done seen all of the press, and he sees what the game is. He sees that this is first time in world history, goddamn grassroots brothers are in position to leverage hundreds of millions of dollars to now place in the hands of other Black professionals so we can do programs and projects to transform the minds and spirits of underserved urban and rural youth. And he had this Negro on the phone who professed to be woke, who professed to be goddamn in the education system. And so Brother Brian and his brother-in-law, Brother Wale, was like, okay, Brother Steve, how do you see this working in Boston in the school? And the Negro said, oh, that ain't gonna work now. Ain't gonna work. What that Negro said? He said, that's from the South. See, we different up here. See, y'all don't understand. This Boston and that Southern hospitality, that Southern look, that ain't gonna work here. And I'm just laughing. Cause Negro, you retarded ass Negro. I got back to Shreveport in 1994 from Atlanta, Georgia, by way of what? Goddamn Boston, Massachusetts, because I was hired as a pharmaceutical rep with Astra Pharmaceuticals in Westboro, Boston, Massachusetts. I went to tough med school for our training for goddamn 3 weeks. So I'm sitting up here like, Negro, Boston ain't worth the goddamn. The hell you talking about? And who you brag on so damn much, Malcolm X, formerly Malcolm Little, AKA Malik DeBob. Hell, he was from Omaha, Nebraska.
That's right.
And then y'all second greatest center for the Boston Celtics in NBA history, goddamn Robert Parrish, is from Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm like, sit your ass down. Man, so I laid out the game plan for the councilman, and he's like, damn. I said, bro, I already see what you see, because he wants to run for Congress.
Mm-hmm.
So he was trying to get the brother on board to just use our brand so you can now leverage the resources to do what they punk ass ain't been able to do.
Mm-hmm.
So he got his ass off the car, and I told the councilman and the other brother, we gonna work with you. We ain't mad, but he looks at us like we some goddamn Bammers, because you know that's what they call.
Sure, yeah.
On the East Coast.
Right.
Like, man, shut your goddamn ass. Hey, what the guy? Like,
okay.
Up in that
okay. so your plans, your vision for what you want to do in Shreveport for the people of Shreveport, can you do these things? Can you accomplish these goals? Can you make this vision a reality without political power and or personal influence? In the words of the late, great Bishop Bullwinkle, hell no to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, no. Hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Hell no. All right, so you started to, this next question you were getting into, and I want you to be as specific as you were with me when we had our conversation a few days ago, because I want people to understand that you can't do what needs to be done to affect our problem of not having power if you don't understand the space where you live, if you don't understand politics, and if you don't have a team. So this next question is about that team part. So to achieve your goals in Shreveport, what must you control, or you and your team control politically? What councils, what commissions, what on the school board, what must you control to achieve your vision and goal for Shreveport? Legislatively, we got to control 5 seats. That gives us control of the $500 million budget. At the Parish Commission, which is county commission for other cities, we got to control 7 seats. That'll give us control of roughly $200 million. At the school board level,
we got to control 7, potentially 8 seats, and that'll give us control of roughly 500 million. So that's roughly $1.2 billion. The game plan then, because you're in control of the legislative process, is to be able to carve out 45 to 50% of the contract procurement opportunities for African-American firms. We have Dr. Tyra Jones on the phone tonight, and we are collaborating. I was able to help her leverage contract in the city of Shreveport for her to do the business development education program for the city of Shreveport's Fair Share program, because we got to get our businesses up to speed on all their paperwork and licensing, bonding, because these are things that knock us out of opportunities. That's the game that the white folks put in place.
Right.
So we got to play the goddamn game. So that's what we have to do legislatively. Then from the executive branch, which is the mayoral position for the city, we take control of that. When you control those 5 seats, you now have control to now elect the person that's going to represent our political philosophy. As it relates to the Parish Commission, the executive branch there is an appointed position, which is the CAO for the parish. Now, if you're in control of 7 votes, you can put that designated person there to now execute your game plan on the daily operations of the parish. The mayor controls the daily operations of the city. And now, when you're in control of the school board, those 7 seats give you the power to control who becomes the goddamn superintendent of schools. And that person runs the day-to-day operations, and that person helps to establish the goddamn curriculum that can now help to free the minds and the spirits of our young people. When you put them together, that now locks your local situation now. Now, we get to the point where all these Negroes like to protest and all this foolishness, and they don't understand that these people are not going to yield power, and they complain about the goddamn police force, the sheriff department. Well, damn, if you're in control of the legislative branch, the executive branch, now you're in control of a branch of government that they don't tell you about in the textbooks, in civics, or even in college, and that's the goddamn law enforcement branch. That is a branch of government as well. They just don't tell you it's a branch of government. They just tell you legislative, executive, and judicial.
Yes, sir.
Hell no. It's about 9 million more goddamn layers of it. So law enforcement, you can lock down your sheriff's office by vote. You can lock down your marshal's office by vote. The only one that's appointed in most cities, there's some that they have to be elected, but the only one that's basically appointed is the goddamn police chief. The police chief is appointed, recommended for appointment by the mayor, and then is approved by the city council. If you lock those 3 things down, now you have your local militia in place. Now you can set the public policies to eliminate police brutality and violence, not only against our people, but against any ethnic group. Now you go to the damn DA who tries cases and whatnot. You control that branch of government. You control the goddamn coroner. You get your seats on the city court. There's about 3 or 4 you can pick up. On the district court, about 3 or 4 you can pick up. Now you control the business affairs of the city and the parish through the clerk of court. Then you go after the tax assessment office, because they regulate the goddamn what your property is going to goddamn cost. So you got to be able to know how all of these, it's a goddamn gumbo.
Yeah.
A jambalaya.
Yep.
And now once you can lock that down, now you can get a few of your people elected for state office, but not to go to be talking about no goddamn reparations at the state level. You're gonna send them down there with an agenda to leverage resources from the state. Where? Back to your damn territory.
That's right.
That's what the game is, man.
Yeah. So what is the projected timeline for you to get all these things in place to create your vision for Shreveport? What kind of timeline are we talking about?
In terms of city council, parish commission, school board, locking that down and being ready for the mayor's office 2030. So we're talking 8 years and shit, a couple of weeks.
You said 8 years and a couple of weeks?
Yeah, because December's almost over.
Yeah. Okay, so 8 years and a couple of weeks.
Get ready to go to war next year.
Yeah, amen. So that will put you in a position to win city council a few times, start learning how all this stuff works, making the connections, building the team, and you go from there, correct?
When I get to city council, goddamn it, I don't give a damn if it's dogs. It could be toilet tissue. I'm gonna know where every damn penny in every damn department goes. That's for parks and recreation. That's for fire and police. All of them got budgets, man. This is real life monopoly, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Know, and I'm the first person in the history of this city to be able to go after these dollars. So now Dr. Jones gets the businesses ready through the business education. Now my partner, Leon Wheeler, Kelly took 20-something damn years to get him as the director of the Fair Share program. Now we rocking and rolling, see? Because everybody can't play the same damn position.
Right.
You see? So you get certain people who can pass to get them in to the employment positions so they can work with individuals like myself. So I've earned my stripes. So the bourgeoisie, they hate me, but they respect me. And they know to keep quiet when they walk by me and shit. So in the grassroots, some of these grassroots Negro, they scared of me too, but you know, we roll with it.
Cool. All right, so if you missed the beginning of the show, you're listening to the Revolutionary Code, where we bring you the truth about how government and politics actually works and how that affects our people, Black people here in America, Africa, and the diaspora. Tonight's show is our 64th episode, and it's titled The Importance of Building a Grassroots Leadership Team for Political Power. My name is Tamani Mwandani. I'm the founder of the Black Gold Nation. I'm your host tonight. And my co-host is Brother Craig B. Lee, who is our chief consultant for both political strategy and adult education. Now, Brother Craig, you just got finished talking about, you just named some of your team members, people that you have, that you've been working with for a long period of time to put things in place, put things in motion. So what kind of, and I want to be specific on the title, the importance of building a grassroots leadership team for political power. So you gave us your vision. You told us what it would look like. You told us the kind of things you got to have in place. You talked about the commissions, the school board, all that stuff takes people. What kind of person must you, Craig B. Lee, must you have on board now, or be looking to recruit and or train to be on your team to make this vision a reality? What kind of person must that be?
Well, it's multiple types of people. So it's a team of 300 people that will be broken up. 100 of the 300 will be specifically for corporate grassroots advocacy. I branded this form of advocacy unlike anybody else in world history, to show our people how not to only advocate on issues, but to have a corporate focus. So 100 of them would be specifically dedicated to that. We'll have, of that 100, I don't want them, unless they got the skills to work, do a business. I don't want them to have to even do a business. I want my entrepreneurial activities and that of my real entrepreneurs, where we have a couple $100 million a year, where we can actually pay each one of these brothers and sisters roughly $50,000 a year. All their ass is doing research, advocacy, public speaking. We'll have part of the team, part of the 300 designated to handle city council issues. We have part of the team specific on parish commission issues, part of the team for school board issues. Our all-stars will handle state and then federal and then international situations. So because your corporate grassroots advocates are also your lobbyists.
Mm-hmm.
The Negroes don't understand what lobbying actually means, and you lobby in a variety of ways, locally, state, federal, but also the corporations and other entities. Of the remaining 200 entities, we now would have those 19 elected positions on the school board, city council, parish commission. So these people have got to be grassroots hybrids.
Mm-hmm.
Those people who get into elected office, they got to be able to be flexible and hybrid. You know, they can handle public and private sector, but they're intellectual gangsters. The grassroots advocates have got to be hybrids, but they're more intellectual gangster from the standpoint of not trying to run for office, but constantly pushing. And then we have some of our entities who may have jobs, they're grassroots hybrids as well, but they're not going to be entrepreneurs. We now put them on the various boards.
Mm-hmm.
The various boards help to recommend policy for the elected office. All right. And then finally, probably have about 50 of the remaining 200. They would be on our empowerment think tank group. And so they would be focused on think tank situations involving the 6 pillars of empowerment in conjunction with our B-STEAM philosophy. And that's all they're doing, cranking out intellectual concepts, research, the whole nine, you see?
Yep.
So now they are never seen. They're invisible. They ain't running for they ain't running for no elected positions. They're not running for anything. They're not out advocating. They're our brain trust behind the scenes, right? And now you set that whole thing up, and those people would look more like, eggheads, but they care about people, They're brilliant scientists, they're scholars, but they're about the people. You see, you got to have physicists and doctors and psychologists and psychiatrists. Those people would make up that part of the equation, and then we go on and navigate, and we turn our city county into a small little country.
Yep.
And we go do business in Africa and the Caribbean and other places.
Amen. Amen. Okay. And as you seek to run the city, just so that people have an understanding of, what running a city requires, list some of the areas of importance, some of the areas of expertise a city must have that we were talking about in our conversation, if it's going to run smoothly and be viable for economic growth.
And one of the most critical, like what I hear Negroes talk about, buying up land.
Come on.
The first and foremost thing are the departments that deal with infrastructure, water and sewage, streets and drainage, okay, fire department, police department, revenue, accounting department, accounts payable, account receivables. I mean, the list goes on. It's just a ton of them. Metropolitan planning, zoning, code enforcement, property standards. I mean, it's just hell to regulate whether or not you can work in a bar. I forgot to tell you about that department the other day.
Right.
The ABO department.
Alcohol and beverage. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and you know that's political.
Yeah, yeah. So whether you can get a liquor license for your club or whatever. It's just a whole bunch of different departments. Housing department, they regulate what goes on with housing. So you got to have people, real estate professionals, you got to have a whole bunch of people who got skills. And that's where the difficulty comes in, because a lot of grassroots people have just given up on education.
Yep.
So you got people.
You muted.
Somebody was calling in. They're not necessarily Black, but they're melanated. And if you have an agenda, you can recruit them to being what you kind of sort of need until you can help them elevate so they can offer their skill sets up. But this thing is.
Yeah, and it not only have a lot of our people given up and we don't want to take education seriously, but a lot of us, we don't want to seek higher education, and we only want to do the Afrocentric education. Anything that has anything to do with the white corporate structure, we believe that it always has to be ran the way white people run it. We don't realize that not only must you have that expertise in that education, but this is something that Brother Harlan really opened my eyes to, in that you need to be rubbing elbows with people who are on that level, who are learning how to do things, so that you can also learn and you can create relationships and partnerships moving forward.
This is what's so retarded about that whole white man's thing. Everything that the white man puts in academically is a byproduct of Afrocentric enlightenment.
Yeah.
Every goddamn thing.
That's right.
The Ivy League colleges are a replica of the universities from the continent.
Yep.
The goddamn capitalist system at its core is free enterprise. Their sciences all rooted in Afrocentric. When I hear the foolishness, where in essence, the Negro has gotten to the point of believing education is the white man's creation.
And that's
I don't want to speak English because that's the white man's language. At the core of English is what? Phonics.
Okay.
Sound.
Yeah.
Phonetic comes from what? The word Phoenicia. Phoenicia. Who are they? Negroes from the goddamn
Phoenicians.
The whole damn concept of the sound, the spelling, all this comes from the continent. So when you deny learning the white man's thing, you're actually denying yourself.
Yourself, right.
Because all of this is based on us. You see?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So going back to question 2 about some of the symptoms of us not having power. If we were to do everything we've just discussed in multiple locations around the country, that could mean what for Black people in those cities?
It could mean that they finally understand the hit song from the Jeffersons, where we're moving on now. To the east side, we finally got a piece of the pie. Feet don't burn it dead. Feet don't burn. Oh, that's what.
All right.
You'll move up like a goddamn Georgian wheat.
All right, brother. That concludes tonight's show. That was my last question. And the last question, of course, is you get one takeaway. So if you can only give everyone who's with us now live and those who watch the recording, if you can only give everybody one takeaway that they will have with them for the rest of their lives from tonight's show, what would that one takeaway be?
You got to have a damn team.
Come on.
In the NFL, to win a championship, you got to have a team. In the NBA, to win a championship, you got to have a team. Major League Baseball, everybody understands this goddamn team thing, except for me. Because the Negro has bought into Eurocentric individualism, and they believe, oh, I'm just going to do this by my goddamn self.
Right. Now realizing that he got a team too.
Exactly. But and they know they can't do it by themselves. But what they do is now they take on the Eurocentric ways of lying and deceiving and getting people to believe that they're on the team, when in all actuality, they're trying to stab them and beat them and cheat them and do all this foolishness. You got to have a team. You got to treat your team with respect. You got to treat your team right. Give them equity. You got to value their intellectual capacity, and you got to allow them to shine. You got to allow them to get their goddamn shine up.
Yeah.
And when you can do that, people will roll with you. Like right now, I want Dr. Jones to goddamn shine. We on the same team. We work out a deal where she can get a contract. And let's say I'm the architect of the deal. I work out a situation where I can float a contract through her for $10 million, and we didn't work out the arrangement. That other $10 million, she gets $2.5 million. You think I give a goddamn about floating her $2.5 million? And just work out the equity arrangement. It's like on the deal she got now, she's making the majority of the money. She's doing the majority of the work. The little bit that I do, boom, I get a little minority percent. I'm good with that. Let her get her goddamn shine on. So I'm sitting in the background, so I like tonight. She just gave me an award tonight, shocked the hell out of me. And she started talking about how she got to Shreveport, and man, she, gave me an award. I was like, damn, because I'm just a black man that caused trouble. That's all.
All right. So we're going to open this thing up to anyone who wants to ask a question. I see Brother Naru has turned his camera on. That's usually my cue. So on that note, Brother Naru, questions or comments for Brother Craig?
Man, Craig, you smarter than you look, bro.
Amen. I second that.
Hey man, no, brilliant, bro. Just pure brilliance. I'm always messing with you. But so one thing I wanted to ask you about out there in Shreveport, what is like the homicide rate, the criminal element? That's something that we're having issues with here, and how do you plan to deal with the community and police, having that balance between those two? That's a really touchy subject in any government, especially dealing with our folks. So I'd really be interested in hearing how you plan to deal with that.
Yeah, brother, it's a great question. And Brother Naru is the same. Right now, we are on pace to eclipse, if we haven't already eclipsed it, our most deadliest year in recorded Shreveport history, which was 1993. And we had, I think 86 or 93 homicides. We're right there. So it's the same, just like everywhere else in the United States. So now I am directly connected to law enforcement got solid partners. Right now, the police chief, I think Wayne is basically my goddamn cousin. Wayne Smith, Antoine White, got good partners in SPD. The sheriff department got 10 folks there and classmates, also in the marshal's office. So you got to have a good working relationship with law enforcement. I tell our people all the time, if you don't want to see your community overly policed, your punk ass got to police yourself.
That's right.
And that means all of this foolishness about no snitching. How the hell you snitching and you ain't a part of a caper? The goddamn, the gangsters got the damn community to buy into the belief that although they're not a part of like selling dope, murdering, bank robbery, they got them believing that if you turn them in, you snitching. Now you're only snitching if you're a part of the caper, right? So we got to get our people to the point of understanding there's only a small segment of those entities. It's not the largest segment of the people. And so this is where a mobilization organization comes in as well. We have to now start to think outside of the box. And especially as dads on duty, we're addressing the issue of youth violence in schools. I mean, we're coming up with creative things where instead of Negroes shooting each other, we're gonna put your punk ass in a boxing ring. And not only are we gonna put you in a boxing ring, we're gonna make it a competitive thing where you can win some money. Instead of now having these little micro gangs who are a part of the toxic hip hop rap and to rap about killing each other and try to kill each other and do something negative. We want you to still rap, but now we're gonna have rap competition. Rap competition that's gonna get you some cheddar. Where the best rapper, we're gonna now get you in the studio, produce the positive song. Like we're gonna come up with this, Naru. We want you to make a track about Shreveport. Positive, tight track. Best entity, you go in the studio, you win, let's just say $5,000. Now guess what's about to happen? You're gonna produce the track, and now we're gonna get all of these so-called positive people who want the youth to stop killing. We want you to buy the goddamn track. So we can now help take the track to platinum so that they can see, oh, if I make something positive, they gonna support me. Oh, we can now maneuver. We gotta think outside of the box as it relates to this. And lastly, some of these people, sorry, Nehru, they're gonna have to disappear. Some of them gonna have to disappear. Might have to put their punk ass on a boat, go back to Africa, work their hands in the field, you know. But some of them are going to have to, there's some severe consequences that's gonna have to happen. But what we're doing is we're gonna affect them. Like this morning, I got up, went to Justin Elementary. They wanted to ask on duty chapter. We're gonna disrupt the negative influences in the children's lives, starting in elementary, then, and not just them, but also with their immediate and extended families, junior high, and then by the time they come to high school, behavioral modification would have already started to take shape, right? And so that's how we're going to mitigate and begin to reduce. And then those of us who are the hybrids, who can leverage the money, status, and materialism, we now meet with the drug dealers, we meet with the gangbangers, and we now show them, hey man, it's a different way to do this, and we want to meet with you first, but understand the killing and all of this is going to stop because we got a hit squad and we're not going to tolerate that. But we know that you don't know, so we want to negotiate with you first. And we want to show you how you can participate in this new economy so that we can now all chase the bag legally and not mess up our community.
That's pretty deep. I just want to ask, like out here back in the 80s and stuff, we used to have like certain, like you would say, crime lords running certain territories.
Yeah.
That seemed to have dissipated, and it's like more like just wild and crazy. There's no, not saying that was a great thing or anything, but when that was going on, there were certain rules and regulations, even to living in that gangster life. And now out here where we're at, and probably where you are too, it's just wide open, and these youngsters are just shooting willy-nilly, going on neighborhoods. And another thing, I was at the city council meeting, it was on live, but I was talking about this earlier, like in our communities, when we were younger, all our children were playing on the streets. We knew each other. And when the kids were out, the old people was out watching them, and you met everybody on your block. It doesn't seem to be that type of neighborhoods any longer. That seemed to have gone away, and all your uncles and grandfathers stuff that used to be on the block, all of them had shotguns. They wouldn't let nothing come on the block. All that is dissipated. So I'm saying we men in the community have to step up and protect our blocks. Oh, on our block, we got rooftop. You know, if we need to jump on the rooftop, I'm just gonna say that. We do that over here. Me and my folks, we handle our block. Ain't nobody selling drugs on our block. Ain't nobody doing nothing like that. So stepping up in the community, the brothers definitely got to step up. That's my last thought. Want to know what you thought about that.
That is absolutely excellent, and kudos to you guys. And also to give you more context to Shreveport's crime, we're the only state in the country with 3 damn cities in the top 10 for murder. Shreveport, New Orleans, and Baton Rouge. And then we got about 2-3 more in the top 20. And but your point is absolutely on point. With the brothers stepping up, I think that's why the whole dance on duty has garnered so much attention.
That's what it sounds like. Sounds like, man.
So this is why that's necessary and mandatory. So I agree with you 100%.
Awesome.
Thank you, brother.
Cool. Thank you, Brother Naru. Does anyone else have a question or comment for Brother Craig? Question or comment on Dr. Tyra?
Yes, I have a comment. I have to say something today. I definitely want to piggyback off of what Craig said about you can't do this thing by yourself. You can't build anything by yourself. To be honest with you, I don't even know why anybody would want to do it. But I just want to say that, and in doing that, as playing team, you have to really know how to play team. I gave Craig an award today because I wanted to show him how appreciative I am for not only convincing me to come back to Shreveport, my hometown, and just, bring the resources that I've been able to develop over the last few years out in Houston. But even with doing that, now we have, the Shreveport Chamber now is asking, how did we do it? How are we able to have success in our program? And now they want consultation on their program. But even within that, just me knowing that I just had that conversation today, my goal is now to go back, have a conversation with Craig. Hey, you need to have somebody who knows how to maneuver in those spaces. And, I may know how to do what I do, but you have to have someone who knows how to maneuver in those spaces. So I just want to say that, and just again, appreciate you, Craig, for everything that you do for our people, the community, for Shreveport, and definitely everything that you do for me. Appreciate you.
Amen.
Appreciate you too.
All right.
Tamani, Tyra is just like me. When I left here, I wasn't coming back to Shreveport.
Right.
went to Xavier, and I was going to be in ATL. But the Creator saw different. My foundation was rooted here, which got me prepared to handle my business in New Orleans at Xavier. And then Xavier got me prepared to handle my business for the rest of my life, wherever I would be, because on graduation night in May of 1989, Mother's Day weekend, that Saturday, shit, it was like, no, it was a Saturday or Sunday. It finally dawned on me what college was all about. Learning how to learn. And so when I hear people say everybody ain't college material, I'm like, y'all just don't even understand what college is. It's just learning how to learn. Even if you go to vocational school, that's learning, that's college. It's above regular school, whether it's trades, whether it's traditional. So Xavier equipped me from the foundation I already had in Shreveport, took me to another level. So now as I gotten into corporate, you know, bam, I'm maneuvering. Atlanta, Birmingham, Nashville, back to Shreveport, back to ATL, Boston, back to Shreveport. And when it finally clicked, you know, why the Creator exposed me to all of these major corporate situations and all of these phenomenal people, I was like, oh, I gotta help my people in Shreveport.
There you go.
Because so many of my fellow Shreveport folks like Dr. Jones left just like I did, and nobody ever, you know, made it like come back. I mean, you got stupid ass Negroes here talking about telling their children to leave and don't come back because they're not involved in the landscape of the city. Man, Shreveport, just imagine. I want to ask everybody on the call tonight. Tara knows this question, the answer, but I want everybody to give me an answer. If it was found that there was a mountain, and inside of this mountain, like there were different caves and whatnot inside this mountain, and you go inside, you know, it looks scary, you know, looks scary. And you go inside this mountain and you start digging just a little bit. And you see it's like this precious metal they call gold inside of the mountain. Then you go a little bit more, they got diamonds. They got all these precious metals inside of this mountain. The question I want you to answer, would you now leave that mountain without excavating all of the precious metals and resources to go to a desert where a whole bunch of people there got, you know, all kinds of, but you know, all the amenities? Would you leave excavating that mountain to go to a ready-made place, or would you stay and excavate the mountain to extrapolate the resources to then create what you desire to create in and around the mountain? What's the answer? Everybody tell me, give me an answer.
I'm staying with the mountain.
I'm staying with the mountain too.
Who else? Everybody. Answers, come on.
They must have stepped away from their computers.
Sister Nisha, oh, she got off.
Sister Cher, Brother Mike.
Sister Cher, Brother Mike.
Yeah. Well, tonight I'm taking it all in, but just reminded by the fact that the struggle continues to still work to be done, man.
He didn't hear the question. He's not paying attention.
Hold on 1 second. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm asking about whether or not you would stay with a mountain where you could excavate and find gold and diamonds, but nobody else is there, or would you leave the mountain and go to a place where there are a lot of nice things, but everything is there, but there's no precious metals and resources for you, or would you stay with the mountain and try to build up that area where you're excavating?
I'm gonna stay with the mountain.
Exactly. And Dr. Jones?
Oh, absolutely with the mountain. That's where Shreveport is.
I think she stayed with the mountain.
Right.
Shreveport, that's what Shreveport is, man. She's coming here and she's buying real estate. This thing, it's not a place where you're gonna see a lot of jobs right now. That has to come from the damn entrepreneurs.
Yes, sir.
And these Negroes be complaining about, and I don't even get mad at them no damn more because I know they're not entrepreneur minded. So carry your ass to Houston, carry your ass to Dallas. Are you retarded? Negro, there's competition in Houston. Like these people travel, like they go to Dallas and Houston, like there's just this goddamn an abundance of opportunities, right? Well, if that's the goddamn case, why you see all them broke ass homeless people over in the third ward? Living on the goddamn, and Mike, you already know how they rolling out in LA, goddamn. And now
that's all day long, man. All day long.
All day long, bro. Bro, look here, man. And I can't even understand them folks out there in California. I ain't gonna lie to you, because if you ain't got some hustle about your stuff like Mike and Naru, you damn sure need to bring your ass back to the South. But that cost of living out there, buddy.
It ain't no joke. It ain't no joke.
Mike, how much you paying for your crib per month?
And how big is it?
No. I stay in like a little bungalow studio, 1 bedroom, $850 a month. I've been here since 2015, so he's not going up. $850. And if I sit in the chair in the living room, I could touch each room with my foot.
And I got a mini condo, and it's still a nice size goddamn condo, 2 bedrooms and whatnot, about 1,000 square feet, 500.
Wow. Yeah.
Wait, $500?
500.
Man, that's kind of nice.
Hey, Tommy just bought a commercial property. She's buying that. How much is that price on that joint?
It was 100,000. It's 1,900 square feet.
Commercial property, 1,900 square feet for 100,000.
But don't y'all get paid a little less out there too, though? Doesn't it all balance out in that way?
Follow me. See, now, some employees get paid less. Remember, employees. But entrepreneurs, you determine your own death. But you can be in Shreveport, they got Negroes here. Well, they got Negroes here in Shreveport that's making millions of dollars now. If you stand in Shreveport and you're making $200,000-300,000 here, bro, right? Hard.
Just it. Yep.
I might have to invest in some stuff out there then.
Mike has been looking at properties here and whatnot. So I've connected Mike and Dr. Jones together. We now have a phenomenal, if you didn't see my Tuesday morning breakfast this week, you better go back and look at it. Sister Marion Clavier Burke, man, that sister there, she is phenomenal with the real estate. And so Sister Burke and Dr. Jones, they are now collaborating. And Sister Cher tuned in to check that out. And Sister Cher was like, dang, girl was like, I mean, and she is a straight up soldier. She's on the team. So I've been able to really compile a lot of folks who got skill, who ain't sellout, but they got some acumen. And my nephew and my niece, they making some millions. And Tyra and I are consultants for them. And they're the only Black folks that got a employment agent. And I mean, they wrote it. I ain't gonna even lie to you. And they don't mind sharing. So if you're an entrepreneur, man, Shreveport is, I mean, it's golden. Yeah, it's golden.
Yeah, a lot of our people would rather struggle in a place that has a name. I don't want to say be a nobody or nothing in a big space, but we'd rather be around a lot of people who are pretending to have something as opposed to actually being something and being a part of something in a smaller space that can really help you be what you are pretending to be in a larger space, because that competition is most certainly there. Yeah, so I can dig that. Okay, Brother Craig, I'm assuming those were your closing comments, but I don't want to take it away. That was it? Okay, cool. All right, so with that, as always, thank you guys for being a part of the show. I sincerely appreciate it. Everything that Brother Craig said tonight and everything he has said, I ask the specific detailed questions because I'm really trying to get people to understand that everything we want is possible. We just got to go get it, because like he said, no one's going to give it to us. You can't try and open a business and compete against Coke and then tell Coke to give you the secret sauce. It don't work that way. so we got to find the right people to be a part of the right team so we can make this thing happen. And it's wide open for us to do. There are several Shreveport models in this country, places that are predominantly Black, that are right for the taking with the right team. We can most certainly make that happen. So
as you get ready to leave, look here. I want y'all to go look at Augusta, Georgia, where they have the Masters tournament. Go look at Augusta, Georgia tomorrow or sometime tonight. Damn near the same size as Shreveport, damn near the same demographic.
Yeah, and look at that, wide open.
Wide open.
Yeah, it's a bunch of them, man. Like I said before, it's over 1,700 predominantly Black spaces in this country. And with the right team, the right youth program, the right training program, we can control all of them. Every last one of them. Inside 50 years, we can control all of them. So on that note, God bless. Thank you guys for being a part. I appreciate it. Always remember, no one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And nothing is more sacred than the liberation, salvation, empowerment, and freedom of Black people. So y'all have a good evening. God bless. Thank you.
All right. Okay,
bye-bye.
cool.
Peace.